The Craft of History, Sources and Historical Methods. Or this is also, I guess, History as Sausage Making Part 2, because history is a messy business as we try to confine it into a narrative. I wanted to spend this week's mini lecture on the upcoming big assignments and to give you a little more detail about them, because you might have some questions and hopefully this will clarify it. So I'm going to be looking at the bibliography project and the syllabus project and discuss with you my expectations and what you should think about. Sort of what I did in terms of the History of Sausage Making Part 1 for the paper, your analytical essay that you had previously. So first, the World War I Annotated Bibliography Project and Presentation. Hopefully you've all read the assignment. It is posted on Blackboard, and if you've read it, you realize it's the big project, and you want to make sure you've been spending some time on it. In order to make sure that you kind of keep up with it, there will be an update on annotated bibliography worksheet that will be due in the next couple of weeks, in week 9. And then the project itself will be due week 13, and then the following week students will review and comment on each other's projects. So it is a project that extends throughout the semester. And because it is an extensive assignment that is worth 25% of your grade, it is important that you demonstrate work and that you have shown commitment to it. So what does this mean? Well, first, you're going to create a wiki that I've given you details on that in terms of what this is going to look like on the assignment. I will create the wiki for each of the selections for the bibliographic entries. So I will create those. And each student then will download their wiki project, which includes an extended introductory historiographical essay on their specific World War I topic, and then an extensive selected annotated bibliography on that specific topic. So your assignment, I think, deals with these quite extensively. The LibGuide has some very useful resources for this project, and so if you haven't spent time looking at the LibGuide and the resources that are available there, you really should look at them because they're going to really help you. If you're unclear of what it means to write a historiographical essay, one really good example is the American Historical Association's Guide to Historical Literature. Even though it is dated, it's going to give you an excellent model, but there's other excellent models out there too. So read bibliographic essays in historical scholarly journals to help you get a feel for how these work, what's expected, how historians treat other historians' interpretive works on a specific field, and how you should approach that. And again, go to the library. Go to the library, check out books, and read books. That probably is one of the most important steps of this project. Your wiki entry, and your assignment sheet gives you these details also, needs to be extensive, and by all means go over 1,500 words. This is just the bare minimum for you to think about for your historiographical essay. And a historiographical essay presents the history of a historical topic. It does not present the history of that event. It discusses how historians have approached this topic. So since this is the 100th year of the start of World War I, consider how historians and other scholars have viewed this topic, your specific topic in particular, for the last 100 years, and present controversies, debates, and various interpretations of this topic. Following this introductory historiographical essay, then you provide the extended bibliography. So keep that in mind. This is the historiographical essay that begins your project will help to establish the framework of what has been the important works throughout time on this particular subject and how it has changed. And so what you want to do is examine how historians have interpreted this topic, how the subject has evolved, how new evidence has posed new questions, and how new fields of history have challenged old paradigms. And that's really an essential part of a historiographical essay. And so that's one of the ways, and you can think about your analytical essay when I encouraged you to really frame your discussion around the use of theory and methodology and sources and the challenges of using these different approaches. What you want to think about is how historians have approached your specific field in terms of theory, methodology, and sources, and how it's changed, because essentially that is a discussion on how history is done. You want to start with your big idea for your historiographical essay. Sometimes there's big ideas, but every one of these entries has at least one very big idea that you are going to use as your framework for presenting this. And you will find what that big idea is through your readings of your selection. And it'll be fairly obvious because every historian will be discussing it. So keep in mind that you want to think about what the big idea is. For example, one of the obvious ones is the origins of the Great War. Is the question of responsibility. That was the big issue at one point, and it's no longer quite as controversial and as contentious, but for the road to 1914 is the question of responsibility. The peace talks is the question of harsh, brutal peace terms leading then to the Second World War. So think about what the big idea is. Sometimes there's more than one. And show how the various historians that you're reading and the works that you're reading reflect the specific approaches to history based on the theory and methodology and source use that really illustrate how historians not only do history, but how the field of history has changed throughout the last 100 years. And again, this is pretty obvious and something that you should have been considering for your analytical essay in terms of the shift from diplomatic and political history to social history to cultural history and to other kinds of history. For example, imperial history, minority history, gender history. And in this essay, present the most important works and name them. Give the author's name, give the title of the book, cite it, and explain why this is considered to be such an important book in understanding the historiographical field. There's really wonderful examples of historiographical essays, and I've included two of them under materials, and I've mentioned this previously in the Sausage Making Part 1. Ronald Gregor Suni does a masterful job of looking at the question of Russian history, particularly the meaning of 1917. So people that are doing Russian history for their segment for World War I should probably make sure at least they spend some time with Suni's article too. One of the great things about these historiographical essays that you can find in many different scholarly historical journals, such as the American Historical Review or the Journal of Contemporary History, and the list can go on, is that they will lead you to other books to read. Right? They provide a wonderful framework for you to understand what the big issues are for that field, who the big historians, the big names are, and the most important books. There's another, I think, wonderful example, particularly for this assignment, is Heather Jones's As a Centenary Approaches the Regeneration of First World War Historiography, that was published in 2013 in the Historical Journal, and it is available online. So I would recommend all of you to check that out and make sure you get that on your bibliography, because it will also very much help you frame your discussion on what has happened in World War I historiography. In terms of an annotated bibliography, make sure that you have an extended annotated bibliography following your introductory essay. Be sure to look at the Chicago Style Manual. Be sure to follow what the bibliographic entry form is. And it also, if you look at the Chicago Manual, it has a little discussion on how annotation works. So the entries are to be arranged under the headings provided in the assignment, and you can look at the assignment for also more about the entries. Then there will be a presentation and comment period, and this is also an important component of this assignment. Make sure that your wiki looks good, and make sure you comment on other people's wikis. Be sure to review and comment, because this is part of trying to build a community of historical learning, and historians love to share their ideas. It's an important part of our dynamic discipline. On to the syllabus project. Again, this is a large percentage of your total course grade, so make sure you spend some time on it. I will be giving you more information in terms of how to create the wiki in the near future, but students will create an individual wiki that presents his or her syllabus project, and it needs to be attached. The syllabus needs to be attached as a PDF file in the wiki, and students will have a short explanatory paragraph, a brief essay on the syllabus and how it came to be, and then students need to respond. Please read the assignment about this. The task is to create a comprehensive syllabus on a specialized history course. The purpose is as a way for you to get into the understanding of how historians operate. How do they create a course? And in creating a course is essentially creating a research project. It gives you a chance to understand how you have to make choices, and you have to be committed, and you have to have expertise. You need to have the right interest, training, materials, because you're going to be organizing the past in meaningful ways. I have included some course syllabi under materials. I encourage you to look at them to get a sense of how they work. And again, don't duplicate a syllabus. An internet search will quickly show whether or not you have. I have also included the research proposal form under materials for History 477, so you can see how, in a way, this is sort of a stealth research project. How to organize the past in terms of the syllabus. First, most of you have already chosen a topic. You've received my approval, and so you should be working on this. And then there are the wikis posted on this syllabus project. If you have any comments or suggestions for other students, please provide them. How to organize the past in terms of the syllabus project. The next step is to create your course syllabus. And I have provided this information in your assignment, but just a couple points to really make sure you focus on these starred points in creating your syllabus project. Some of the things that are really important is the rationale. Why does this course exist? How does it fit in with the rest of the field areas curriculum? Thinking about the student's point of view, what general outcomes. Outcomes are very important. And because this is such a big part of what we've been reading in terms of historiography, thinking about your biases and what you bring to this course is also very important. So consider that part of your syllabus. And also the course readings. This is a critical part of your project. Make sure that you provide the best choices and explain why you're using those readings. There's also a part in the syllabus for you to explain in your own words about academic integrity and why it is so crucial for the historical discipline. And then you create your sort of research project or your course schedule as a 10-week course with specific topics, readings, and assignments. Make sure that you provide an annotated bibliography. So I want to end with Mark Bloch and the craft of history, because as we've known from previous lectures, he is sort of the martyr of history for the 20th century. Mark Bloch in The Historian's Craft wrote, "The past is, by definition, a datum which nothing in the future will change, but the knowledge of the past is something progressive which is constantly transforming and perfecting itself." And these two assignments ask you to dig deeper into the sources available and the historical methods used to interpret these sources, so that you have a better understanding of how history functions, how people do history, and how it works. And I leave you then with a Bloch quote, a Bloch quote. of what the past yields and how we use it.